Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Double Agent, the Turncoat Colloquium. We are here in Jindal School of Banking and Finance online, and we're hosting this debate. The Turncoat debate is actually a very interesting debate. I'm going to tell you all about it in a few minutes. Before that, I wish to introduce you to our judging panel here. We have Professor Shalini Goel. She's the assistant professor and a data analytics professional. She teaches at Jindal School of Banking and Finance, and we are very lucky to have her. We also have Professor Faisal, who is the assistant professor and assistant dean of international strategy at Jindal School of Banking and Finance. He teaches courses on risk, social theory, money, finance, etc. He will not be joining us through Zoom call. He will be watching us from YouTube. So hello, Professor. Hope you can see this. Up next, I just wish to clarify all the rules of the game for you so that there are no doubts as to what is happening. So participants, 2 minutes before your chance, you will be given your topic, which makes this an extempore debate. All right. The topic will be related to topics of economics and finance. Do not worry, because the topic will be very general in nature and it will take into account your level of current understanding. Now, in the 2 minutes that you're given, you have to prepare a quick, a quick debate speech on that. But the difference is that you have to write for both sides of the motion, for pros and for cons. After the 2 minutes are over, you come on screen and then you start talking. You will be spotlighted, and while you speak for those 2 minutes, one of our buzzer keeper may just go ahead and press the buzzer. As soon as the buzzer goes off, it is important that you change your stance. So if you were speaking for pro, go to con. If you were speaking for cons, please go to pro. Before your speech starts, I will be informing you whether to go for pros or cons. So that would be clear. Now, the buzzer may go off more than once, so please don't be surprised if it does. And also, just a quick note, since this is an extempore debate, it is possible that we need a minute to collect ourselves when speaking. We may also fumble, under which case, please do not worry. This is a very safe space, and we can go ahead with this. You can take a minute to take a second to collect yourself, and then we can move on. So before that, I just like to ask the topic keeper to send the topic to our first contestant, because their chance comes up in 2 minutes. Gautam Badlani will be our first contestant. Till then, I'd just like to brief you on the judging criteria. All the participants and the professors already know about it. So, okay, the judging criteria takes into account 4 factors. We'll be looking at 1, your speaking skills. Second, the quality of the argument that you're making, that is information-wise. Third thing, we'll be looking at the smoothness of your transitions. So what does this mean? We're not talking about just any transitions here. When the buzzer goes off, what happens is that participants are usually caught off guard, and they tend to have a very choppy way of speaking. We want to avoid that. And if you can stay calm when the buzzer is pressed and come up with a very nice, smooth transition, then that will aid your performance. So yeah, that will be our third criteria, the smoothness of transitions. And the fourth criteria is the most important one. It is persuasion and how well you convince the judges. Now, no matter how well a speaker you are, or how well you speak, or how great your argument is, it is really important that you are passionate about what you're speaking and that you move everyone in your audience. So that will be the fourth criteria. You have 2 minutes of preparation time and 2 minutes of speaking time. Hope everything is clear. We'll just begin after I tell you about some considerations. Firstly, the organizing committee wishes to make it clear that this is a safe space for everyone present. And so if there is any use of improper behavior or profane language, then it will not be tolerated on any grounds. Second, if there are any internet issues which prevent the participant from speaking, then that is not the responsibility of the organizing committee. Thirdly, and lastly, the jury's decision that will be taken will be final and binding. With that, if 2 minutes are up, timekeeper, may we begin with Gautam Badlani. All right, Gautam, the floor is yours. Please come on.
Yeah, just if you could please confirm if I'm audible. before I begin?
Yes, Gautam, you're audible. Till then, the next participant, please give them their topic and Anya in the chat box. Thank you. All right, go ahead, Gautam.
Yeah, cool, cool. I'll begin in three, two, one. So my topic is about the pros and cons of a cashless economy, right? So firstly, talking about the pros. Basically, what happens in a cashless economy is that there is zero involvement of cash. That the transactions that people enter into on a day-to-day basis are not in the form of cash, right? Now, the primary advantage of this is that no matter how big your economy is, no matter how developed you are, there is some sense of transparency that cashless economy brings, right? There is some sense of transparency. There is some sense of reliability upon data that this kind of economy brings, right? The data collected through cashless transactions. However, on doing a pro and con analysis, we have to understand that considering the rate of literacy as well as considering the education rates in India, we have to in India or actually a major part of the world, we have to understand that in second tier or third tier countries, the rate of literacy is very low, right? Therefore, a lot of people are not able to enter into such cashless transactions. Secondly, we have to understand that the infrastructure that exists in the However, again, going on to the fact is that when we enter into cashless economy, we have to understand that the economy to some extent is stabilized, which results in the welfare of the entire people, right? Why do I say that? Because what happens is that when the data is reliable, people, policymakers, economists are able to enter into such policies which actually benefit the entire people, right? Which does not happen in a cash economy because the data is not that relevant, right? Because the data can be hidden because on the basis of such unreliable data, economists are not able to come up with completely loophole free policies, right? Therefore, what happens is in a cashless economy, not only transparency comes in, but also the reliability of the policies. Again, but in going on a pro and con analysis, we have to ensure that the rate of infrastructure, and secondly, considering the cyber attacks that happen in countries, especially the countries with low level of infrastructure, because basically the concept of cashless economy is to some extent very new, right? Therefore, we have to understand that in the absence of such infrastructure, in the absence of such defense system to make the economy stable, it is necessary that we first develop the infrastructure and then go on to a cashless economy, right? If we even want to aim for a cashless economy, it has to happen in a phased manner, right? This cannot happen suddenly because of the absence of such infrastructure which protects us from, let's say, foreign intervention or something like that. Secondly, it has to be ensured that, okay, yeah. So on the basis of that, I'd like to conclude. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gautam. That was a great first performance. Just for everyone else here, this is how it's done. All right. Thank you so much. All your points are very well taken. Professors, judges, I'd like you to take this minute to please score them on the score sheet. Till then, we have the next participant coming up, Himang Thakur. He will talk about home ownership and its effects on the economy. Himang, please come on and start with the pros.
Well, thank you so much. Well, I believe the first thing that comes into our mind when we talk about home ownership is like having a 4 by 4 or 10 by 10 acre land and have a good home or have a big and prestigious home in a very well-known tower like Supernova. The fact is aside that it is about to be clamped down by the Supreme Court order. But an important thing that we must remember that whenever the home ownership is being taken up by individuals, it helps us in the economy. It helps us in the uh, stock market, in in stock market, and in the various points of the economy, like banking sector. But an important point to be noted that many times the home builders and the businessmen try to make the housing markets very low and very cheap, so that the newcomers and new buyers suddenly buy it. And when suddenly there is a kind of changing situation and changing circumstance, they will suddenly raise the price of the houses, making it not affordable to all people, but only to the certain sections of our society, which are extremely less like Ambani and Dani. But one thing should be noted when we analyze about this particular economics aspect that whenever the home ownership has been talking about, it has helped many people provide jobs in the banking and stock market sector, because it has always been a hot point from the 1970s to 2021, that how the house ownership sector should be changed. But the important point has to be noted that from the recent scams of that we have seen, like from Supernova, Super Tax scandal, and how the Supreme Court has been taken down those buildings, is a point that these sectors are to be noted down. That many a times the homes are not registered, the flats are not registered, the buildings are being kept unregistered, and so that the buyer should come there, buy the homes at a very high price, and then the business owners and all the people sell it at a very cheap price to all the residents nearby, making
Huh?
it
The time
impossible.
is up.
Okay, so one
Thank
last
you.
point, making it impossible for the middle class person or low class person to afford it. So this is my point. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all your points. They are very well taken. All right. So, guys, I think we're in flow now. I hope everyone has understood how the competition will go about. Professor Shalini, please take a minute to mark it in the score sheet. Now, the next participant we have on will be Ruffle Dwivedi. He will be talking about that. He will be saying Brexit was a political decision, not an economic one. He'll be making arguments both for and against the motion. Please start with for. Praful, can we have you on?
Yeah, am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. This side Praful Devedi. Let me straight come to the point. Brexit, which basically refers to the exit of Britain from European Union, is refers to as commonly Brexit. It is not a new process. It has completely taken around 6 years from the day referendum has taken place by the Conservative Party. Let me come towards the prawns, that why it is considered political decision. Because first, because geopolitical situation is very different in EU followed by UK. Second, because of the security issues, it was important that the areas which are aligning the UK and the EU should be kept in different conditions so that all the able to participate in that. Second, important, if we consider the crowns, it will be important to understand that it is an economical decision also to a larger extent. Because first, because of the trade tariff that exists between the EU and the UK, it got attached, and most of the countries which are going to facilitate trade in the EU will not now able to go in the UK. One second important, job loss has taken place massively in UK after this Brexit has taken place. So again, it seems to be an economical aspect. Third important aspect that has to be put forward in this is the geopolitical conditions. However, it can be a political decision too, because in the EU, in the United Nations, the EU has a very different majority as compared to UK, and that is why to undergo a decision and policy making process, it becomes quite difficult and results in a dialogue formation between EU and UK. That is why it is important for the geopolitical decision. However, if we go on the economical side, it is very much important that now United Kingdom is going to undergo bilateral issues and bilateral partnership with most of the South Asian countries. It will be a benefit for the EU, for the UK, but on the other side, a huge amount of trade loss that it has to suffer as a result of Brexit from getting exit from the from European Union is again a definitely setback for the UK and the entire economy of United Kingdom too. Last but not the least, is Scotland also UK is going to lose as a result of this Brexit. So again, it is an economical loss. So as a result, we can say that not only it was a political loss and economical loss, but but also a social and an economical perspective also. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a social perspective lost. I mean, keeping in mind the history, but okay, let's not go there. I am amazed at how well our performances are happening, how well the participants are performing with just 2 minutes of preparation. Hats off to all of you. Okay, without
Thank you.
wasting any time, up next we have our next contestant, Priyanshi. She will be talking about prostitution should be legalized for its contribution to the GDP. She'll argue both for and against the motion. Please go ahead, Priyanshi.
Okay, so first of all, I want to check if I'm audible and visible properly. All right, thank you so much. So actually, this is a very sensitive topic in which I'm going to say about the favor of the motion. So first of all, prostitution in India should be legalized according to me. The reason being it can increase the tax revenue in the country, and also it can also help the people to overcome the poverty. As you can see that especially due to the pandemic situation, the poverty in India has gone uprising, and there are levels where GDP is drowning as much as we could not even expect it in the decade. So yes, pandemic has been a reason. So due to this thing, due to this one factor, I would say that yes, guys. However, it is one's own choice, and I would say that yes, it can increase the workflow and maybe good for a feminism who does not get any other work to do. So also there are various countries in which it is actually legalized. So India can think about it in the future if this can actually help the country for the GDP, because we can see that later or before in the the government is actually preparing how they can come out of this financial situation. However, if I talk about this from the other perspective, we can say that legalizing this prostitution thing can be actually can be called as a violence and abuse to one or the other society or religion, especially to the Indians, we say, because this is considered illegal right now in the country, and it may actually hamper the growth of and individuals in the country as well, especially due to the COVID thing. People think that because just only because of one thing that GDP is drowning, so we should legalize this thing. I do not think that yes, this should be legalized. We can legalize anything in the country just for the sake of fastening or increasing the rate of GDP in the country. There should be a proper mindset. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Priyanshi, for your speech. I think those were some very thought-provoking points. It's something we as a society need to think a lot about, because on one side, we have prostitution, and by legalizing it, we may be empowering the women who are engaging in such activities. Whereas, if prostitution is not legalized, like you said, we may be sort of prolonging this kind of sexual violence that is imposed on them because of their financial conditions. So this is truly a moral dilemma for all of us and for society as a whole. And I'd request all the participants to think more about topics like these. All right. Professor, please take a second to mark them in the score sheet. Till then, we have our next participant. Give me 1 second.
I'm done. We can go ahead.
All right. We have Ridhima Sehag. Her topic is the LPG reform of 1991 was India's best policy decision. She has to make an argument in favor and against the motion. Please come on, Ridhima.
Good evening, everyone. So yes, LPG, which stands for liberalization, privatization, and globalization, it was a very important decision. Why? Because before that, we were living in a different era, like because with this, and maybe after 10 years after this decision, we got into the 21st century. And before this, we were in 20th century. And with LPG, we entered the world. We connected with the world, and we got into the real 21st century. So, but we can't say that it is the best decision. There can be some better decisions in the future. And yes, with LPG, there has been an increase in competition for our domestic producers. So what about them? So it won't be fair to say that LPG is the best decision, because even with LPG, right now, we can say that our economy is at its best. Also, with LPG, but the liberalization, privatization, and globalization, it has somewhat helped us, because why? With globalization, our trade with other countries has now been easier and better. With privatization, our banks and everything has been better. But again, I would say that it wouldn't be best to say that it won't be good to say that it is the best, because even with LPG, we have not grown as much as we had all expected to. So LPG was a landmark economy, but we can't say that it was the best decision ever. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ridhima. I applaud you for coming here and speaking so well about something you feel passionately about. Well, when it comes to LPG, I actually didn't know a lot about it till I came to college, and I didn't even know that this policy was imposed on India with a heavy hand by the international organizations. Earlier, I just thought that it was a revolutionary move made by the leaders of India, but that is not the case. And yeah, so that was really enlightening. But this topic just reminded me of that. So,
we are also celebrating the 30th anniversary of the economy and the LPG policy in this conclave. So I think it makes all the more sense.
Yeah,
as
I
well.
know, right? That's where I got the idea. And it's all about India's growth story. So I feel like
Correct.
India truly has grown, and like Ridhima said, it has opened up. But at the same time, but like
For
she said,
the
third
domestic users, it
right,
has been
developing countries at sometimes they get take advantage of, because they're relegated to being outsourced for raw materials, and they're not actually adding a lot of value. What I just said may be a bit controversial, but still I will say that they're all gray areas, right? And I think that is the point of this debate, to bring all the gray areas in a 1-2 minute topic, so that everything comes out in the open. All right, great chit chat. Sorry about delaying you all. I'll just call the next participant. We have Rohan Kalia. His topic is the pros and cons of automation, which is a very recent topic. So, Rohan, please come on.
Hi, am I audible? Yeah, so we all know that automation has helped everyone in some way or the other. As the best example in my mind is the fast tag which we are using on the highways. Like people earlier had to long queues, and people had to queue up for just to give the toll, and now they can just pass through with just a click, and they just don't have to wait at all. And not just that, like automation in terms of everything, like booking tickets, ordering food, but it also takes away a lot of jobs from us. If I take the same example, the person who was sitting there giving out the toll tickets is no longer employed, and it is also giving the power to a very few set of people, and taking away a lot of from the the distribution of power, which I mean. So in terms of that, it is again not a very favorable thing, and the job losses which we will see as a country with having the highest workforce, will be a very impactful. Automation will really impact a lot. But automation is the future, because I think after a point, everything will be everything which technology can do, it will be doing. And as you were talking about Meta and all of the the social media, they're trying virtual reality, augmented reality. So it is the future, and we have to accept it, and evolve ourselves through it, and what can we contribute to it, so that we can create jobs for ourselves, and evolve with the future. And talking about the negatives again, in terms of illiteracy prevalent in our country, as India country, we are a long way, adopting easily the concept of automation, and it will be a really hard, a hard process for the government and the policy makers for this country to really establish the automation in everything, including political aspects and the government aspects, as well as the for e-voting, that people can vote from their houses. They have to maintain the ethics there. So we are a long way through, as we're not a developed economy yet, but I think we are catching up the pace, and we'll surely be able to adopt and be well equipped with the automation, and I think we'll do a good job.
All right, your time is up. Thanks a lot, Rohan. So the automation is such a controversial topic, because it has literally changed the world. But at the same time, the question is it changing the world in a way we want it to change the world? Right? Because there are some very human costs to all the physical, all the monetary, all the financial advantages that automation brings with itself. You said in your speech, and I'll quote you, you said that automation is the future. I'll contradict you there, because again, this is a controversial debate. I'll say that automation is the present, because in my opinion, it is already here. With the advent of social media and everything, and with the way targeted ads work, I have a feeling that, perhaps it is already here, right? What are we waiting for? Which is why, I mean, there was this whole debate on universal basic income as well. I'd love to know everyone's opinion on it. So maybe we can talk about it once through all our participants. All right, then. Then I just like to call our last participant. I know you must not believe it. I told you this is going to be a short fun and snappy debate. So here we are calling our last participant, Siddharth Padlani, and his topic is unpaid domestic labor should be compensated. All right, please start with the pros.
Yeah, okay. So I'll be speaking in favor of monetizing domestic labor. Now domestic labor here means housework done by housewives. Now first of all, understand what will it do. It will basically provide a measurable aspect to the work being done by them. It will provide greater recognition, greater acknowledgement to their work. Now when we are paying them for the work being done by them, it will provide them greater financial independence. When they can actually say that I'm earning this much because of the work that I'm doing, it will provide them with the liberty to live their life with greater freedom. Now, okay, but we have to understand that most of this work that is being done is out of love and compassion. Now, when we say that, you cannot do work out of love and compassion and you necessarily have to charge your own family for the work that you are doing for them, it might be construed as a disrespect to the love and compassion of these women. We might be disrespecting their emotions and not, and it's after all a choice that people that they deserve. How can we tell them that, you cannot do this out of love for your own children? Why do you have to necessarily have a money to traffic? Now, we have to understand that this goes against the principle of equality. Now we say, like for example, if we talk about unpaid internships, we say that no work shall remain unpaid. We call them modern day slavery. So how can we say that housework should not be unpaid? Isn't it kind of degrading to the woman? Is it in kind of, lowering their standard in the social strata and saying that, you cannot get paid for your work, you cannot be part of the economic system, that the work being done by you, it doesn't deserve to be rewarded the same way the work being done by men deserves to be rewarded. So it obviously remains very, very controversial, in contravention to the principle of equality, because after all, they deserve to be paid for the work that they are doing. It cannot be that men get paid for whatever work they are doing. Now we have to understand that what may happen is that large corporations, because children and their fathers will have to pay these women for the work that they are doing for them. For example, cooking. Now what may happen is that large corporations may come up and they may provide and they may start providing this food at lower cost, at greater efficiencies. Now as a result, what may happen is that further oppression may happen against women, because now since money has to be paid to women as well as to large corporations, these men may resort to paying to large corporations rather than to their own wives, and so this may lead to greater oppression. With that, I would like to conclude. Thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth. Just a quick question. Are you Gautam's brother? Are you guys twins? Because I just got the assumption that you are, and that we started with one twin and ended with another.
Yeah, twins.
Right, makes sense. Thank you. About unpaid labor and whether it should be monetized, I think there is a long way to go for that to happen. But to be honest, I don't think it will happen. I mean, these are all wonderful questions, but I believe this one in particular, for now at least, it is just a hypothetical. Before we move on to Professor, I just would like to ask Shreya if she is present here, because she has head in the meeting, but we can't see her. Shreya, would you be ready to present? I'll just ask once again. Shreya? All right. I'm assuming that Shreya isn't here. And now we can move on to Professor's comments. So unfortunately, Professor Faisal won't be able to give his, but we have Professor Shalini Goel with us, and hopefully she'll compensate. Please come on, Professor.
Hi everyone. This was a wonderful event. Some very good points came across. Some of you transitioned really nicely into the other side of the argument, which I think is very difficult to do on the spot with just 2 minutes preparation. So I really applaud all of you for however you did. Whoever wins the others should not feel any less, because I think it's really hard. If you put me on the spot and tell me to change my stance, I'll be like, it's very difficult to do it on the spot. So we all understand that you are all anyways better than the rest. Okay. So I really enjoyed this.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We did too. By the way, what did you think about the topics, and did some interesting thoughts come up when you were thinking about them?
Of course. Some of the topics are, not everybody is going to know all the topics. Thankfully, one person had to speak on one topic, but because I had to judge all of them, so I was like, myself shifting my gears from one to the other as quickly, trying to move it as quickly as you. The topics were very interesting. Some because of my personal interests. For example, automation is what you guys, some of you will know. I work in data, and automation is a big part of it. So I was like, Harsheen said, it's not the future, it's the present. I mean, it's the present, it's also the future, because it's going to keep evolving. So yeah, the topics were very interesting.
Yes, ma'am. I meant it is the present as well as the future. So of course it is.
Yeah.
No, I just thought that some very interesting opinions came up, and this is what Jindal really stands for, right? To cultivate this critical thinking. And when we're put on the spot and just, they put a gun to your head and say argue for both for and against, we are really forced to think. And I think that was the aim, and that has been accomplished. So
I'd like to add one thing that I would like to congratulate the team also, that how diverse the topics were, from prostitution to automation and to all the laws and everything, economy. So I really appreciate that, and it was really nice for me to attend as well.
Right. Thank you so much, Devna. Thank you so much. Professor, you were saying something.
Yeah, I was just nodding my head in agreement with Devna. It's not easy to even come up with such diverse topics.
All right then. Since the competition, since all the competitors, participants have been covered, I think we can move on now. So just to let them know, the results will be declared during the closing ceremony. Devna, could you let us know what the closing ceremony is?
Yes, it is at 7 p.m. and the link will be sent to you shortly.
Right, we'll send the link in the WhatsApp group. But till then, thank you so much for joining in, guys. That'll be all. We had a lovely time, and best of luck to all the turncoat debaters out there.